just waiting for the notification to get through that I'm live so that I can go and there we go. There I am. Let me make sure that the volume is good. Come on, say hi. Come on, say hi. There I am. I knew I could do it. There I am. I have a really nice, a really strong case on this tablet, but yeah. The downside to the strong case is that it is hard to find the buttons. And somebody's going to say that's what she said. And yeah, well, there you go. All right. So today I'm just going to tie up some catfish rigs. Thinking about maybe going out later, depending on if it cools down a little bit or not. So yeah, I'm at 3-way swivels. Got some 5/0 hooks. I get some 10/0 plus hooks. Hey, ooh, Ashley Pooh, how you doing? You got some 80-pound suffix mono. Hey, 351 Cleveland, good to see you, good to see you, good to see you. And if you're going to get beat, it might as well be get by a gorgeous woman. Got some 30-pound trailing big game and some suffix elite 14-pound. Depending on what rigs I'm going to be tying, is what I'm going to do with what. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with some 30-pound. 5/0 3-way. If you've never seen my system before, it's that simple. Line, hook size, and the type. And I'll also put an O or an S. O is offset, S is saltwater, which makes no sense because I should just put inline, I for inline, but I don't because, stuff. Actually, I think I will go ahead and start doing that. But anyway, so these are going to be my park lake rigs. How was my day? Hey, Glavinator. Pretty good. Thank you for asking. Went in the office today. Haven't done that in a week or two. And so that's always nice. Just marking these. So we'll create 4 of them. That way we've got a few extras if we need them. We can get some of these 3-way swivels out. So I could use a smaller 3-way swivel that I'm using. Since I'm only going to use 30-pound main line, main part of the leader is going to be 30-pound. But, oh well. I don't have any other size because, well, that's me. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to do the egg loop knot. And I just dropped a video yesterday about the first 2 knots you need to learn as a catfisherman. Hey, Crappie Man Jigs, how you doing? I am a pretty... What do you mean you can't see? Don't tell me that. I see my mouth running in the background. See? I see me. You messing with me. Well, Megan, I'm glad somebody loves me. So I'm clear as day. That's all I want. And the reason, so I talked about in that video of doing the no knot snell, which is I stick with, right? I still think that's the, give me just a second. I'm trying to turn up my own brightness there. I want to be a little brighter. Sugar apple in stock. Can you help me? I could try to help. Okay, Arthur, thank you for telling me that you're a sugar apple in stock. I don't know what you want me to do with that. And you're saying it a lot of times, kind of like, I don't know, are you having an episode? Okay, sports prods, I don't know who the hell Lamar Jackson is, and I don't know if all of you children get in the exact same little Discord and talk about, hey, what's the stupid thing we're going to go say today? Don't be an asshole. Don't be an idiot. And thank you. Yeah, 351. You can time that clown out for a lot longer. Yeah, I don't care if he's a football player. I don't care. What is this edits crap? Is that where you use my content to try to push your shit because you're a piece of shit and you have no content of your own and you just go around reusing others? Fucketh offeth. Hey, 308 Magnet Pirate Jason, how you doing? I don't want your edit. What's my opinion on spoon? I like spooning. Boy, as far as dumbasses go, there's been a lot of them. Megan, I'll tell you what. In my video, in the comments of the video, not during the live stream, but in the comments, I would encourage everybody to post their channel within a reason and what it's about. Because saying I need subs can get you some subs, but it's not going to get you viewers. And viewers are what's important. Like right now, I got 19 viewers, only 5 thumbs up. You want those thumbs up too. Those are very important. Very important. Most important ever. Let me see if I can adjust this angle just a hair. There we go. Just because, aesthetics. But I do like. So the first 2 knots you should learn as a cat fisherman, and I stand by that. I just like say the egg loop knot is just a little better of a knot, but it's a lot more difficult to tie. There's not a lot more steps to it, but it takes a lot more coordination than just wrapping it around the hook a few times. And if you guys don't know, Crappie Man Jigs, crappiemanjigs.com, he this is going to blow your mind. I had to go to remedial education to find out, but did you know he sells crappie jigs? That's right, he does. He does. Oh, Hippo, that's funny. You want me to say gay boner, don't you? That's so funny. Are you like 6? Okay, the bus that you rode to school this morning, was it really, really short? Like your penis? Is that what you call? Don't be a dumbass. Did you know if you hung around some of these live streams that you're just being a dipshit in, you might actually learn something. You might find people you like hanging out with, but instead you're just going to get kicked out for being a dumbass. Let's see. Corrado, no. Corinda. Yeah. Okay. I'm sure there's something funny that I'm supposed to say there and get caught. Because, I love it how you guys think that, like, hey, can you say hi to Dick Hertz or Hugh Janus? Yeah, that's really Beavis Butthead level stuff. But if your name is really all of that, I don't know. Well, you are in between sets, Ashley. Ashley is a sunshine. She is you would not believe this poor girl. She has been busting her hump. She has been working on her physical appearance, and she is nothing but a big, solid rock from head to toe now. I can't tell you how just thoroughly I am impressed with her. So for anybody who doesn't know what I'm doing, I'm tying rigs for catfishing. WhatsApp Flipcast? Yeah, no, we're no WhatsApping in here. I'm older than 12. That's just me. Weird that way. So I tied on the trilene knot, which is one of the 2 knots that I mentioned in the first 2 knots you need to learn as a catfisherman video. So because I'm using a 30-pound mono for the hook to the swivel, I want to use a lighter weight line going from the third part of my swivel down to the sinker, and that is because if your sinker gets stuck on the bottom and you have to rip it loose, you only lose your sinker. You get to get the rest of your rig. So there we go. Where can you get one of these? You can tie them yourself. You can go get all the parts you need off of Amazon, just like I did, and you can learn to tie these. And I've got videos on my channel going over how to tie rigs, and we're doing it right now. So you can do it interactively if that's what you want to do. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and use, I've got some 14-pound monofilament. So my main line on this is probably going to be a 20-pounder with a 30-pound leader. And then, so I want something lighter than my 20-pound main line, because again, physics and stuff, if you're going to break something, you want the weakest link to be the one to your sinker, because you'd rather lose your sinker than the whole rig. $1, that's a lot of dollars. What's the best rig for a Jewfish? So a Jewfish, for those who don't know, is a Goliath grouper. And I don't know because I don't fish for Goliath grouper, because they are protected species in Florida. And for the most part, up until recently, you really couldn't fish for them. And if you do want to fish for them, you got to get special licensing and stuff like that. And there's, you know, specific, what am I trying to say, seasons for them. And it's too much regulation for me, and it's more of an offshore fish, although you can find them inshore. But the big ones, the big 500-pound mondoom mothers that everybody's after, those are going to be deeper. I did see where Fish and Wildlife just recently posted about catching a guy that had spearfished within, I think it's 100 yards of shore. And when he realized he was being watched, he went further out and then dumped his kayak to try to get rid of the evidence, one of which was a 100-pound Goliath grouper. What do I fish for? I fish for anything from panfish, you know, bluegill, carp, or not carp, bluegill, crappie. I will do some carp fishing at some point. Catfish, of course, skipjacks are fun. They're bait. And then in saltwater, I'll fish for anything I can reach from the shore. And so far, I haven't got any really good stuff. I did catch my first sea trout, but it was short. Got some of the white sand trout, croakers and stuff like that. Caught I have not caught a pompano, but I did catch a permit, which is strange because permits are not nearly as prevalent as the pompano. So this is what my rig's going to look like. So I've got, this is just a double surgeon's loop at the bottom. And the purpose behind that is you take your sinker. Hey, Gigability, how you doing? You take the loop, you put it through the eye of your sinker, and then you put the sinker through that hole, and you pull it tight, and you got a cow's hitch. And you can also take that back off by pushing back through, and then you can take that sinker off. It allows you to change your sinker. Around here, hey, Mr. Rogers, good to see you. Good to see you. I think I said hi to everybody. Johnny Rebel, I think I said hi to you. So the type of fish, so I'm in the Memphis, Tennessee area. So if you look at the map of the U.S., with California being over here and this being the East Coast, I'm somewhere about right here. Here we're going to be fishing a lot for catfish, carp, bass. Certain areas you'll find walleye. Certain areas you'll find trout, crappie, bluegill, a lot of different species of sunfish. You can get a paddlefish in there. And of course, Asian carp, you want to snag them, but there's that. Let's see. Oh, another idiot that wants, okay. What makes you think that anybody in their right mind gives a damn about Lamar Jackson edits? And everybody says the same thing. It's like all of you children go to the exact same little, I don't know, wherever kids get together and talk about how to be childish on the internet. You say the stupid stuff. Most of you don't even have a channel to do it. I truly don't understand the level of obnoxious stupidity that is in your brains. I mean, do you go from one channel to the next just trolling? And if so, why? Did your parents not teach you better? Did your dad leave and go out for cigarettes about 20 years ago and never come back? Okay, it's not because he hated your mom, it's because he hated you. Because you're like this. You are the cause. I'm sorry to have to say it that way, but it's true. You're an asshole. So, now we got that out of the way. Am I scrolling all the way to the beginning? No, I unhid a message, or I viewed a message that 351 was nice enough to get rid of. Hi, Jake. Welcome in. You know what we're going to do today? We're going to tie up some catfish rigs. We're going to talk about pretty much anything under the sun. Sorry, first day with a new tongue, as long as it's not about race, religion, politics, or anything else that is made to divide people as opposed to bring them together. Fishing, and all the fishing channels don't get along. Please don't think that I think there's some kind of weird euphoria here, or dystopia or utopia. But you know, we're trying to have a good time with people and then have fun. And hey, Jake, appreciate you. So I'm just right now I'm working on tying up a egg loop knot using a 5/0 eagle claw laser sharp hook. Doesn't matter what I'm using. None of these people sponsor me. I'm telling you what I spend my own money on. And you know, once Ashley falls for the trap of marrying me, what I'll spend her money on. Yeah, because that's how it is. It gonna be that way sometimes until she finds out and beats me up. And she can. She can beat me up. Beautiful lady, but strong as an ox. And I'm going to tell you guys something, especially you kids and any single men out there. Do not mess with a single mom. They've been through it all and they've seen it all and they ain't putting up with that shit no more. Some of the trolls actually watch. They might learn. Well, I mean, they might learn other channels to go to learn stuff. So we're going to tie the trilane knot. And to tie the trilane knot, I realize it's not the best way to see it. You slide the line through the eye of the swivel or hook or whatever you're tying. You do it again. You come back around, you do it again. So that's going to give you a little loop here. If I was using high vis line, you could see it better, but there's a loop there. And then there'll be a second loop that's formed here when we take the tag end versus the standing end. And I actually want this to be a shorter distance between the hook and the swivel. So I'll do that. So we're going to cross this line over and then we're going to twist it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're going to do the 5th one. That's the little finger on your hand. So we get to 5. We go back, take the tag in, and we go back through both of those loops. Like so. We hold it on. We want to make sure that when we pull it, that this top part doesn't double over on itself, because that will give you a bad knot. And then depending on which end you pull is going to determine, you know, you could pull some of the length off of it between the hook and the swivel. So there you go. Pull that tight. If you need to, on thicker line, you can use your fingertips and just kind of push that line up, the knot up towards the swivel. I love these pliers. These are made by Danco. Again, not sponsored. They're usually $3.99, I think. $2.99, $3.99. They're called the Ultimate Braid Scissors. They can cut braid. They can cut mono, of course. You got the cutting part here. You've got a kind of a flat grippy part here. And then you got a grippy part here. And you also have a split ring. I don't care for split rings, but you have that part of the plier there too. I have not done the small tube. You're talking about the like a straw snell. I have not. I hear Fishing with Billy, which is now TV or I don't know. He changes his name a lot. Used to be Panfish Bill, Fishing with Billy. I still call him Fishing with Billy. But Tennessee River Valley, TRVG Guide Service. I don't know. Anyway, but I've heard him talk about the straw snell, and I haven't Braxton, how are you? My PB bass. It's a double pronged answer. It's 5 pounds. I caught one that was bigger than that, but I caught it when I was catfishing, so I didn't count it. Plus, I caught my 5 pounder when my daughter was 1 year old and in the car with me, and or not the car, the boat. So I really didn't want to give it up for something that was maybe 6 pounds. They called it an improved snell. So, Mr. Rogers, here's what I'm going to tell you. Okay, I haven't looked at how that's tied. I don't think I have looked at several others though. Okay, I looked at many different snell knots, and the no knot snell is by far the strongest. And the egg loop knot is based on the no knot snell, except that when you push it through, it doesn't. Well, that's what I did wrong here. Let me grab that tag, the little piece of tag in that's left, because I chopped most of it off. Oh, mother of pearl. It's in my finger. Ow. What? Oh, no, we're going to die. Give me just a second. There we go. Yeah. Stab myself good. Oh, that was not as fun as it looked. Anyway, with the egg loop knot, when you push it through, it doesn't unwind itself. I mean, it looks like it is, but it's not because it's the egg loop knot. But the no knot snell, at least 75% of the time when I have it on the pull tester to test the strength, it breaks way in front of the knot. Whereas almost every other knot out there, it's going to break at or inside the knot. Eagle Claw Super or Laser Sharp 5/0. I keep pressure on that for a second. Lord have mercy. Always outside. I just literally answered what my PB bass was to Braxton. If you want to go back about 2 minutes, you'll find out. My PB tree. Oh boy, that's kind of funny. I went down the Mississippi River when it was flooded a month or so ago. And I took my surf rod, and I was like, well, there's an opening between those trees. I bet I'm going to try to hit that. And I slung it out there, and I'm like, man, this thing has got some amazing hang time for where it landed. And it wasn't until I went to reel it in that I realized I'd actually gone over one of the limbs. That's why it had so much hang time. And then I cast it 2 more times and also tried to hit the spot between, and I missed both times. It caught the tree. I am in the Memphis, Tennessee area in the U.S. Let's see. So I really like the no knot snell, or as you can tell, the egg loop knot is. I like it better because it doesn't come undone, or can't loosen up. I've never actually lost a fish to the no knot snell coming undone. I don't think anybody has, but you can cut with the egg loop knot. If you can see it right there. Just a short little tag end where you need a longer one with the no knot snell, so that it doesn't, mess up and come undone. And of course, that's more of a problem with a heavier line because there's more memory and all that kind of stuff. It was a good looking spot. And at the base of that tree actually was where I had a really good bite, but he was pulling drag and everything, but he got away from me. He outsmarted me, which wasn't really hard to do. I've met me. I ain't the brightest bear in the woods, or the brightest tool in the shed, or the sharpest knife in the fireplace, or any other idiom that I can mess up there. And then the trilling knot was the other that was, again, a very strong knot. It's a little stronger actually than the Palomar knot, and for some reason about 20% of the time my Palomar knot would break on the pull tester much lower than it should have, and I don't really know why. And once you get the trailing knot down, the thing is, so when you try the Palomar Palomar knot, you have to kind of build your rig a certain way in a certain order so that you're not trying to push the whole rig through a small loop. So that's really why I like, one of the reasons I like the trilene knot, and like I said, the strength. I was really impressed with it. I've got several knot strength videos on my website or on my channel. If you want to go watch them, I got a playlist on them. I got a playlist on how to tie certain knots. So none of this is really, groundbreaking information, but it's so funny because when I was researching for that, because I got different results than I was expecting. I expected that the no knot snell was going to be a junky little knot, but it's not. It actually has a lot of strength to it, and I can explain it. So again, there's my little loop at the bottom so that I can go ahead and tie on my sinker when the time comes, and also remove the sinker so you can adjust the size that you need. So one of the questions maybe is, so why aren't you just using a Carolina rig or a sinker slide? Well, there's a few different reasons, and I'll go over them just as soon as I get this in the little baggie. So for those who have just joined, I'll show you my little baggie system. So these are 4 mil. Don't get the 2 mil because they're too thin. Now the hook can come through these if you try hard enough, but the 2 mil are really bad. So what I do is I write on there line strength, hook size, type of rig, and then the O is for an offset hook versus whether there's for saltwater, a lot of for reef fish, you have to use a inline non-offset hook. So that's why I mark them as such. Okay. So with a Carolina rig, what you have is you have your weight that can slide up and down, and it's whether you use a sinker slide or not, right? Same principle applies. It can move freely up and down the line, coming from the reel until it gets to, of course, the swivel, and then it stops. So then you've got a leader that comes down to your hook. You put a piece of bait on the hook, depending on how big the piece of bait is. So if your bait is heavier than your leader, then your bait, when you cast, is going to pass your sinker. So if your bait's heavier than your sinker, it's going to pass it in the air. So you can imagine as you're going, so it keeps going out and your sinker's moving slow forward, but more slowly. So you've got all this distance, and I'm talking several yards, multiples of 10 in some cases, of extra line that the bait has before you get to the sinker. Well, you want to keep it tight, right? So you have to tighten it down to the sinker so that the sinker's on the swivel. So you got to reel all that line back in. Now, if your sinker's heavier, then what happens is show you real quick here. So you got your sinker on here. Well, your sinker then, so your bait, we'll say your bait's right here. Your sinker then does this number, and it goes faster out than the bait does, and you've got the same problem because you got to reel it in. Now, of course, the sinker's not going to be the thing that moves in. It's going to be the bait, but you've got a lot of extra line out that you're going to have to reel back in. The other problem is it can do this vertical helicoptering motion in the air too. So the closer in length that your hook leader on these three-way rigs and your sinker leader are, the less that's going to happen. But most people want to have about twice the distance. So let's say to your hook is a 5-inch, you want about a 10-inch to your sinker. Okay. Now I want to talk about the sinker slides. These are cheap ones. I got them off of Temu. I have had multiple instances where I'll cast it out. If the sinker gets stuck at all and pull it back in, I can lose a sinker, or I can it'll have this whole piece bent out, and it doesn't make sense to me. The purpose behind the Carolina rig, as it's stated, it's so that the fish can pull on the bait without feeling the sinker. So it can pull more line through the sinker or the sinker slide without feeling any weight. Okay, but where does the line that the sinker is on go to? It goes back up to your rod and your reel. Your reel is, in most cases, locked down, right? It's not in free spool. So the rod, they're going to feel the rod doing this number, right? So, okay. Now, if you do have it in free spool and your bait clicker on, it's different. there's still going to be a little bit of, just the line pulling through the water, but for the most part, right? If you're going to be tight lining with the reel, not in the free spool, what difference does it really make? I do Crypto Billy. I actually have more I need to put up there. These are other channels. Strangely enough, I don't have my own stickers because I'm cheap. I'm cheap. Shh, don't tell anybody I'm cheap. And for some reason, anytime I get on the live stream, my mustache wants to tickle the snot out of my nose. That's why I just keep it rubbing up here. That's just my mustache tickling me so bad. Because I'm cheap. I'm real simple. Mustache. So gigability, yes. It depends on what hook it is. So like the Mustad Demon, and I'm sorry, the Mutu Light circle hooks, yeah, they can straighten out because they're made out of all light wire. And of course, if you put one of these 5/0 Eagle Claws on 100-pound mono, I bet it'll straighten out too. I've kind of been impressed. So Eagle Claw was always one of those brands I stayed away from because I think everybody from my generation, one of the first hooks they ever bought were those little snelled J hooks, the Aberdeen snailed ones that, Eagle Claw. Well, your Aberdeen hooks are thin, light wire, they're going to bend. But they were never the sharpest. They were never this. The Eagle Claw Laser Sharp series, they actually are pretty doggone decent hooks. Especially for the price. You can get the Gamakatsus and the higher end stuff that's over $1 a hook if you want. Yeah, you can have Eagle Claws. I mean, you can have anything break, right? I was testing the strength of a few different hooks, and I had one break on me, and it's not a good feeling because, well, I didn't build a plexiglass box to go over this to keep things from flying across the room because, danger. But yeah, I mean, and especially with the lighter wire, or also, especially because you fish saltwater, that will degrade hooks over time anyway. The true turns, those are true turns are a funny one for me because my brother introduced me to those when I was a kid. And for those who don't know, a true turn hook. So as it comes up here in the shank, it actually kind of bends out and then up and maybe in again. I forget exactly how it all works. But my brother gave me the story of, well, you use it on your worm, so when you reel it in, it twists. Well, that was just because there was so much twist on the line. So it acted like its own little spinner was his take. Actually, what it is when the fish bites down and it pulls through, it has to turn. And that turns so that it, I believe, catches in the top or bottom of the mouth, depending. Hey, Landon M., good to see you. Good to see you. My biggest catch, well, that would be my ex-wife, but we don't want to talk about that, do we? Got a 26-pound blue cat. I've caught well over 20-pound Asian carp snagging. I've caught a couple of really nice gar last time I was in Florida. So, yeah, anyway. Hey, random thoughts. Hey, I was outside. Good to see everybody in. Appreciate you guys coming in, spending time with me. I'm just sitting here tying up some hooks or some rigs. Tell you what, folks. For those who are not YouTubers, you won't appreciate this nearly as much as the ones who are YouTubers will. So there's this 4,000 magical watch hours you have to hit in a year so that you can get monetized, plus have 1,000 subs. Well, I'm well past that. I am trying to get that 4,000 in a year. Well, about this time last year, I was down in Florida, and I was actually, I got some decent number of watch hours. Yesterday, I looked at my watch hours towards that earning, 3,900. Today, 3,800. My smallest catch, well, now that, minnows. I actually threw away a rod and reel winning fish. I was fishing a tournament at Lake Fork for bass. I didn't know there was a small fish. I got into a school of, I'm catching them on rattle traps, little bass this big. It was hilarious. And I didn't know that there was, everybody's fishing for big fish. I didn't know there's little fish on board because, man, I could have put it in a net in the live well so it didn't go out the hole in the live well. Oh, yeah. So we're going to go back and we're going to tie on some 30-pound mono. Let's see, I think I was going to talk about something else. I don't remember what it was. I'm sure it was extremely important. I talked about the sinker sides, talked about the Carolina eggs. So I'm not against even having a weight pegged onto like the three-way swivel. I could use wherever they are, a coast lock snap. So just a snap. I could put a snap on there and then put the sinker directly to it if I wanted to. Yeah. Oh, can I grab the camera with my left hand? Yeah, here it is. There's my left hand. Grab it. Lamar Jackson, edit that, you twat waffle. Random thoughts. So what it is it apparently children, when they get off the short bus at the end of the day, they all go and log onto this Discord server and they go, hey, what's the stupid shit we're going to say in live streams today? And apparently the Lamar Jackson thing is a big one. Because an edit is supposed to be where they take your content, they modify it somehow, and then reuse it on their own channel because they can't create their own content but most of these idiots don't even have channels on their own. And all they do is they end up getting blocked for doing shit like that. And it's going to come back and haunt them because one day they're going to be wanting to use an account and go chat with somebody and not be able to because they just ran their, yeah, it's kids. I actually had one. So there's one going around. Would you rather watch a tree grow or a knee, but on your leg, grow? So you're supposed to read that out loud. So you say Negro, which is apparently some horrific word that is really not, because Negro means black in different language. I forget which one it is. And I mean, there was Negro League baseball. So saying the word Negro is not just this horrible thing that but they think it's funny to get you to say it because I don't know, racism, or I don't know, really just it's stupid. It's just, and it would be funny if it was one person that tried it. The first thing, that's funny, like Dixie Normus. Can you give a shout out to my brother Dixie, or my sister Dixie Normus? Oh, that's funny. Dixie Normus. Okay, so the first time you see it, you're like, okay, clever. But then 25,000 other people do it. It's like they share the same two brain cells. And, I've done it to Cindy. I've gotten her to say a thing or two just for fun. Okay, Mr. Rogers. Hey, what's the matter, Dad? Anyway. So, I mean, I understand trolling, and trolling is an art. And I'm not against trolls. Please, I'm against low effort trolls. If you can't put in any kind of effort into trolling, don't bother. I mean, you're just phoning it in if you're using the same recycled crap from other people. Hey, competitive angler, good to see you. So anyway, we're going to go back to tying my hook on here. Like I say, I really do love these egg loop knots. Somebody asked me about them in one of my videos when I was actually talking about, I think, the no knot snell. He's like, well, so is the egg loop knot just as strong or not? So I tested, like, it is. And like I say, so with the egg loop knot, it's a little harder to tie. Coming back here. Learned something last time. Use a hook puller. Had a nice little a bloody mess there where I caught myself. So with a no knot snell, when you push it through, all your coils loosen up. Not with the egg loop knot. Oops, there's a little blood hanging out right there. So I really like this. And another benefit is you can cut the tag in really short. Pew. So there you go. Words and phrases. Hey, Brycloptic. I don't mind troll. I really don't. Yeah, the AOL days. I mean, back when you did, See, and I here's the thing with the Lamar Jackson edits. I don't give a shit about basketball. Apparently, he's a basketball player. I don't give a shit about most sports. I don't give a shit about Lamar Jackson. Don't care who he is. Doesn't matter to me. Why would I want my content used with him and somehow, increase his popularity? That's that. That's a special level of narcissistic on my side. Yeah, I could make him famous. But why would I want to be associated with him? I don't. No cell phone days. Yeah, I mean, back when, you had to. Okay, one of my favorite troll comments, and it may have been Gigability that did it. I don't remember. But it was on NJ Fishing Maniac's live stream. And NJ Fishing Maniac during the summer, he wears like the cutoff sleeves and the deep cut under the arm. And somebody went in there, and it was a friend of his. It was a positive, person. It wasn't like just a regular troll. And he's like, so did they forget to give you the muscles with the muscle shirt or something like that? And I was like, that's just funny right there. And I mean, it's not like Mark doesn't work out or anything, but it was the funny. It was a little bit of a drag and a cut on him, but it was all in good humor, and there was no, nobody was trying to be a dipshit about it. It was, and Mark read it and fed off of it, and those are the. I don't mind engaging with trolls. The problem I have with the current level of short bus level trolling that goes on is, if these people actually went into a live stream, hung out, and I'm not saying that my live stream is the right place for them, right? But whether it's crocheting or quilting or hunting or anything, right there, you could learn stuff. You could actually learn useful information. You could become a member of that community. In this case, I would call this community the catfishing community, although I'm only part of the catfish community, obviously. You could make friends and interact with so many different people, and you might actually find a hobby you enjoy, and you're depriving yourself of that opportunity, because all you're doing is getting yourself blocked on every channel because you're being a twat waffle. And in case you don't know what a twat waffle is, it's similar to a douche canoe. Okay. And I've never really sure, when you think about what a douche canoe is, it would be something that floats. And anyway, yeah. So, but it's still one of my favorite, names to call somebody. Douche canoe. Because, all you can really do is laugh at that, right? You can't, you can't get offended. You didn't cuss them out or anything. Hey, Squishmallow, there you go. Hey, Scotty. Let's see. Did I miss anybody else? Nope. Good to see you. Fun Fishing Adventures, and Braxton as well, Mr. Rogers. So, folks, if you look through these, if you're new here, and haven't figured out how to click off yet, I don't know. Good. Thank you. Any of my guys that are in blue, they have their own channel. They're people I trust. They're people I like their content. Doesn't mean that some of these other people don't have channels. I don't know. These are people I actually know, I watch, I trust. And there are people I watch that I wouldn't trust to be a moderator on my channel. Not anything against them, but I just kind of keep it short. So anyway, like I said, I talked earlier about this. So I mark, whoops, I didn't even mark this one right. Watch this. 3-way. So I mark my rigs, put them in this, again, 4 mil. You don't want the 2 mil. Get them on Amazon. These are 3 by 5 inch, 30-pound test line, 5/0 hook, 3-way rig. And then the O is an offset versus and it's the hook, whether the point is offset from the shank or not. And this actually has a very minor offset, but anyway. So I take these and I'll either put them into like a quart zipper, Ziploc freezer bag, or a gallon Ziploc freezer bag. So I keep them all together by type. so that if I'm like today, let's say if I was headed out to go fishing at the local park pond, that's what these kind of rigs are for. I just grab this. That's all I'm going to need, and bait. So, and I don't even need all of these. I need rigs. I need sinkers because they're not included in these, and bait. But I don't need to carry all of them, of everything. So, like, what are these? These are 10-aught 3-ways. I don't need those if I'm going after channel cat in a park pond. And so these are like 80-pound, and then the others aren't full yet. Ashley found these and got them for me, and then I just used my steel leader material to make the little rings on these, so I can keep them all together. So, and that would be, like I said, I would be using if I went, river fishing or something. So I'd have, 3-way rigs. I'd have bottom weight rigs. I'd have, different options in there. Heinrich, grab the camera. Okay, here I'm reaching really closely. There you are. Edit that. Ooh, it's one over each eye. Ooh. Don't be a dumbass. Okay, just don't be a dumbass. I mean, it's stupid. Crypto, I do not play with action figures. They're inflatable dolls. So, see, I like a good troll. I can, smart ass comments I'm good with. It's just the low effort. I mean, just low effort. Well, more action, Jackson. You look like a dumb fuck. Your mother should have, well, swallowed. Just going to say it out loud. Okay. You are a burden on society. You will never, ever become anything with your life if you keep going down this road of, hey, hold the camera for Lamar Jackson. Asshole. Go touch grass or something. If you can't touch grass, you can at least pound sand. And if you keep posting shit like that, that's what's going to be. You're going to get the sand handed to you. My mom will kick your ass out, and I ain't going to bring you back in for being a dumbass. Then I'll give you a real world example, and maybe this will apply to somebody out there. So when I was 16, I worked at McDonald's. I know this is going to come as a huge shock to some of you, but I might have been a hard-headed monkey at 16. I still am, but anyway. And I worked there for a couple of months before I got fired for telling a manager to go do something herself. They called it insubordination. I called it I was busy with something else. Leave me alone. But I got fired from McDonald's. Let me tell you something about McDonald's that I've been told. I don't know if it's true. I believe it is. If you get fired from McDonald's, you never work for McDonald's again in your life. I am now over 30 years old. I work in IT during the day. That is my livelihood. It has been since dinosaurs roamed the earth. Okay? I can't work for McDonald's corporate. I got fired from FedEx when I was in my early 20s as a courier. I cannot go work for FedEx ever again. Even though the world has changed. Everything has changed. But once you get fired, a lot of companies don't hire you back. Well, while that's not necessarily as important as YouTube, because YouTube is super important, don't burn bridges is where I'm going with this, okay? Just don't. And when you start posting shit like, grab the camera for Lamar Jackson edit, you're going to get kicked off, and, nobody's going to want to be around you. Nobody. Let's see what these idiots did. Hey, Ari, sucketh the dicketh. Like, open your mouth real wide and then jam your daddies in there and suck on it. Asshole. Trying to give you some fucking life advice and you just want to be a dildo about it. See, Walmart, there you go. And random thoughts. One day you're going to be 94 years old and want to be, need some income, and you think, hey, I can sit in my wheelchair at the door and slobber on people as they walk by and ask them for their receipt. But no, you done pissed off Walmart. And I mean, I understand. The interesting thing is, casinos, at least down here in Tunica, down there in Tunica, if you get fired, you can't get rehired for 6 months. I'm like, wait, I can never work at McDonald's again for the rest of my life. And you can get fired for any number of things at a casino and you can reapply after 6 months. Wow. That's just amazing. Anyway, yeah, I mean, yes, we all had, that is how we learn. And I'm probably talking a little too personal here, and I apologize, Ashley, but like, Ashley's oldest had just graduated high school, and he's still trying to figure out where he is in life and what he wants to do in life and all that kind of stuff. And I try to correct him when I see him do something that maybe isn't the best thing to do. And he takes it just like I did at that age of, with a side of go fuck yourself. Yeah, but, and if any of you ever get the chance to procreate any of the trolls, I mean, one, I strongly recommend against you doing it because, you've already done enough to the gene pool as it is. But you will see your children make the same mistakes that you made. One, the example I give is don't touch the hot stove. You can tell your kid not to touch the hot stove. Just like our parents told us not to touch the hot stove. Every damn one of us touched the hot stove. And there may have been a time when I saw some of the Bengay cream in my grandmother's bathroom, and I asked her about it or something, and she specifically said, don't put that on your boy parts. I'll just tell you, don't do it. I bet there's 5 or 6 of you running right now. Go find some Bengay. When am I fishing next? That's a good question, Sunshine. Let me check the trusty dusty phone and see what it thinks. 90 degrees. Not right now. I'm going to go out this weekend, hell or high water. And it actually may be hell and high water when it comes down to it, because Friday night, well, actually Thump Daddy is at Lafayette's Friday night, but I'm trying my best to stay out of Memphis. There's just too many people breaking into cars and stuff, and I love the band, but yeah, I'd rather not be in the city limits of Memphis. I'm actually thinking about going out Friday night and going out fishing on the Mississippi is where I'm thinking about, and taking out my rods that are have the photochromatic, or I don't know what it's called, the blue black light reactive rod colors, and using black lights. So there you go. Oh yeah, Billy. Yeah, yeah. Hey, Uncle Lou, welcome in. No, I'm not on weed. If you have any you want to share, I'm just saying. Yeah. So, we all try to keep our kids from making the same mistakes we did as we were young and dumb, and really all we do is we watch our kids do the same stupid shit we did that we were told not to do, that other people warned us not to do, but you got to learn for yourself. So I give the trolls a little bit of latitude because I know that they're not going to learn until they have to learn the hard way, and sometimes the hard way is the hard way. And you try to keep people from doing that, but when you make enough of enough of a nuisance of yourself on YouTube, and what's going to happen? I promise you, you will have vindictive moderators like me that if you say something racist, I will go back, I will view your deleted comment just so I can report you to YouTube, because there is no reason to put up with that shit, right? Homophobic, racist, any of that stuff. So your IP is going to get blocked, which means that you're going to lose your YouTube account. And that's just not smart. Well, hello from Antarctica. What do I think about Jews? That is a very good question. I am glad that you came into a fishing channel and you said, what do you think about Jews? That is, I was going to sit here and I was going to talk about fishing and tying rigs and other, but let's talk about Jews. Okay, so go ahead and start the timer. Start. Stop. We're done. That's it. Started playing with Perplexity today. Go to is Gemini. Don't really like Copilot. Antarctica. Well, you could be in several different time zones. I think I would assume that they all go kind of up. But I'm going to say that you're in Billy Bob time zone. So one of the, I think it's through Xfinity. I think I get free Perplexity. I get free Perplexity for a year from somewhere because I'm a student, or because I have a student email address still 20 years later. I get a year of Gemini, and you can go sign up. I think it's through the end of maybe through the end of this month that you can sign up and get a free year of Gemini, and you can create 8-second videos of gorillas driving to the boat ramp. It's really, AI to me is interesting because I work in IT, right? AI has gotten a lot of people into a lot of trouble. I watch a gentleman by the name of Steve Leto. He's an attorney, and he does stories on anything law related, usually, or car related sometimes. And he's up in Michigan. Uncle Lou, that's somewhere up near you. I know you're somewhere near the Antarctic like that. But he's run a few stories on attorneys who have filed briefs with the court that were written by AI and were wrong. There was one that it cited, other cases that did not exist. Iowa, Wisconsin, Montana, Michigan, Canada, Greenland, they're all right there together. So for those of you who don't know Uncle Lou, and Uncle Lou, I'm going to put you on the spot here, buddy, my friend, my buddy. Hey, Sunshine, I need you to, oh, there you are. Give me a second. I got to go back for a minute, scroll through something. And then I'm going to put him on the spot. I now have an official managing moderator. So actually, you can do anything you want. Most anything you want. With power comes responsibility. Okay, so Uncle Lou. Uncle Lou makes rods. And unfortunately, I don't have one sitting beside me. Those beautiful orange rods that I fish with, those are Uncle Lou rods. Bricloptic, $5. I don't want to scare you, but that is the biggest super chat I've ever gotten. I mean, I've gotten 3. So, but still, thank you so much. I probably need to think of something to do when people send a super chat like that. Maybe I could dance, but if I started wiggling now, even after I stop, my body will still be jiggling for a long time afterwards. So whatever. So Uncle Lou makes rods. He made other stuff like let's see. These are Uncle Lou rattles. I don't think he sells them anymore. These may be Uncle Lou hooks. I didn't mark them. I think they are, but I could be wrong. But he doesn't sell those anymore either. So anyway, but those are my next batch that I'm gonna start tying on. I don't know if these are 12-aught or 10-aught. I'll call them 10-aught. Anyway, back to Uncle Lou. Uncle Lou has been nothing but a blessing to the catfish community. When he came out with his rods, he gave away too many of them. He would, like if somebody's having a drawing, hey, Uncle Lou, can I get a rod? And Uncle Lou would give them a rod to give away in their giveaway. I could send, I don't have any stickers. 10-aught. Okay. So the question, Uncle Lou, So this is the problem with Uncle Lou. Uncle Lou does this as a side business when I wish to God he would make it his full-time job, but that's not my decision to make for him. He keeps his costs low by it being a hobby, but he also tends to run. He had supply chain issues just like everybody else. So, Uncle Lou, what do you have in stock right now as far as rods go? And he is coming out with something new. He hasn't told me what it is. I don't blame him because I tend to be a blabbermouth and I want everything. I love new stuff. He did tell me it's not a surf rod. I don't know. I think he's already done a bumping rod. I don't recall though. I think he has. So it could be it could be a spiral wrapped rod. It could be a carbon fiber rod. It could be a rod where the butt is at the tip and the tip is at the butt, or it could just be upside down. I don't know. Am I a biker in my teens? That is funny. I don't know if you know why it's funny. That is funny because a lot of bikers are, shall we say, like horses, rode hard and put away wet. Hobby out of the love of sport, just stuff I'm custom building. Oh, okay. No, I'm not a biker in my teens. I was a biker in my early 20s, if that helps. Not really a biker. I rode a motorcycle. Hey, Joshua, you were in the hospital last I remember, I believe, or I hope you're doing better. Scotty, Ashley has already said, please take as much of Mike's stuff as you can get because I do have too much stuff. And see, that is the downside. Because whatever Uncle Lou comes out with, I'm going to want. And that's just, hey, Commander Pig, I have too much stuff already. But that's not going to stop me. Stopping is for quitters. So, and what Uncle Lou hasn't done, which is, let me make sure. Uncle Lou, you don't have any rods, right? Reels, I have to make sure I say this before I say something else. To my knowledge, Uncle Lou has not come out with a reel, and I don't think he's coming out with one that I know of. And what Uncle Lou does, and it's kind of funny because those orange rods, the first few times I saw them, I'm like, who wants an orange rod? And then you see them on screen. And as a YouTuber, those things show up so well on screen. They're amazing. Because I was always like, oh, who cares what color a rod is, right? So Uncle Lou is the first company I know of in the catfish space that did anything high visibility. You've had some people that had like a high vis tip or something, but he did the real thing. So the problem with some of these companies, they're coming out with their own line of products, and it's not their products. It's a knockoff. So I can't tell you how many people have knocked off Abu Garcia's Ambassador reels. And I don't care if you want to knock it off, make it just as good for a lot less. I'm game. It's when you make crap, and there's a lot of crap that has come out just because they wanted to have their own name on a reel. And one of those companies that I really like, PC Fun. They're not a big name reel. You're not going to find them in retailers. You can only find them online. So, you're taking a bit of a risk. Now, there's a cost savings involved too, right? They are less expensive than what you're going to find for the same money in a sporting goods shop. But a lot of they haven't put the same kind of money into R&D as the big players have. So, even large vehicle manufacturers, Hyundai is a good example. They pretty much recalled a butt ton of engines. Chevy may be doing it soon. Even the big companies can put out stuff that isn't as great as it could have been. So I worry about some of these companies. I bought some of those reels from some of the companies, and I didn't like them. I didn't think they were a good value. I thought they were kind of junk. A pink Harrington. I'm not sure what that is. almost sounds something like a dirty Sanchez. I don't know. Uncle Lou, I have not used it enough. I went out with Ashley a couple of weekends ago, and I was down at Pickwick Dam, and my goal, because a couple of weeks prior to that, we were there and got into some snagging some Asian carp, and I had it ready. I was going to snag a whole bunch of Asian carp. I was going to catch them, fillet them, just put the raw fillets, like, not try to get the bones out, on ice, throw the rest of it back in, and rinse and repeat. I couldn't find them. Man, I had that reel was ready for. I was going to put it through the paces. Now, I think it was on when I hooked the bottom, but that doesn't really count but so far I've been impressed with it, and I'll tell you why. And I said it in my review, but I didn't say it strongly enough. So it still has the 6+1 ball bearings that the Chaos XS50 has. So I'm talking about the Chaos Pro 50. So the XS50 is $50 to $60. The Pro says they're supposed to be 90, but you can get it, 18% off usually. So down to, let's say, $80. Well, they moved two of the ball bearings, and this is not either of those reels, but moved it out of the handle. So it had two ball bearings here. It moved those out, but one on the main shaft and one on the spool shaft. So you have 1, 2, 3, I think it's 4 on the spool shaft, and then 2 + 1 on the main shaft, if I remember correctly. So it's I think that they really messed up in their marketing. They should have just said, well, let's keep those two under the reel handle. Under the reel handle, it doesn't matter that it's there. Yeah, bushing works just as well for the most part, 99% of the time. It's just a little extra smoothness that you probably don't need. But they didn't increase their bearing count between two. I think that was one of their marketing mistakes. Oh, high-end stuff. There you go. But so you know how an Abu Ambassador is, and the PC Fun Chaos XS50 seems to be a bit of a knockoff of that. So they have the two very thin metal side plates, and they're connected by the rods, right? The Pro, the frame is on the sides is about yay thick, and the caps on the end are very thin, as opposed to like on the Abu, the cap has it's about that wide. It's not that thick. It's still just stamped aluminum, but the frame on it it looks really super, super strong. Hey, Benoit. Hope you guys are doing well. So I am really looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to getting the Alios 400 out there and getting some bigger fish on it. Because I really want to give it a good workout. I will say, Pontoon Jody told me that she had used the Chaos XS series. I don't know if it was the 50 or the 60, and that they lasted her about a year before she, as she says, wore them out. I think stripped the gears. I don't remember. But now Jody catches big fish, and she fishes a lot. And back then she even fished more than she does now. So, I don't doubt that could have happened at all. I've never found Jody to be somebody who embellishes and, so she was not a fan of the Chaos XS. I think that for the majority of people that the Chaos XS is a fine reel, but this Pro, I think, is just, it's next level. The frame on it is similar. It appears to be similar to the Cat Max from Bass Pro. Although I've never really been a fan of the Cat Max, and it has nothing to do with Bass Pro. It has to do with somebody who used to pimp them a lot, and I didn't care for that person. That's the downside of having too many influencers. And this was 20 years ago even. You have people that, if their personality is off-putting, they're probably not the greatest influence to have out there. I don't know why my mustache wants to tickle my nose every time I go live. Hey, Kamari. Maintenance does go a long way, and I've even given her crap on a number of her live streams when you cast up and go like, you could hold that. And I don't know that the gears look the same as I look at them on the Pro versus the XS. It could be a different material. I don't know. I mean, just looking at them, they look kind of identical under the hood, but the hood is different. Like say they've moved some of the two of the ball bearings around. The drag system looks to be the same. Handle looks to be very similar, except that the ball bearings are no longer in the handle. And the handle piece is now one item number, whereas it used to be like 5 or 6. But anyway, but the frame, that frame looks stout. And I believe, if I remember correctly, I don't have it in front of me, I believe it's tacked in 4 different places versus 2 on the Chaos XS50. Now the XS60 had 4 points, but again, it was still a thinner metal in there. It just, where the real foot meets the real is where I'm going with that. I really, I wish the drag, I don't know if it's softer or if it's just a higher frequency and maybe it doesn't register with my ears quite the same, but I've heard other people say that the clicker is not as loud as they would like it to be. But then, if we had our way, it would be, like the Carp electronic ones that, where wakes you from being dead. Anyway, so, but again, I'm super stoked on this, and I'm going to be flat out honest with all of you. I say I'm not sponsored by anybody, and I'm not. I don't do reviews in exchange for product or anything like that, but I have approached PC Fun a couple of times and said, hey, I really like your product, and I would love to be on your pro staff. And they looked at my channel and they're like, you are trying really hard there, buddy, but you ain't there yet. And I get it. I mean, they're not here to support me. It's being pro staff or whatever you want to call it, sponsored, is about what I can do for them as well, not just what they can do for me. So I get it. But you can even add that to, if I were, some people would say, well, if you don't want me when I'm small, then you don't get me when I'm big. PC Fun, they really, I am impressed by them. Cash King is another one of those brands that is supposed to be the cat's meow. And I've had a Rover 50 or 60, I forget which one it was. And I lost it in the ocean, and was not sad. I was more sad about the rod that was on it. So now I do have 4 of the Cast King Cat Tech rods. They don't make them anymore. I got them on clearance for like $50 a piece, blah, 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 blah. I really like them because they're great for fishing ponds. They're like medium power. And I think that they're graphite, and I painted them orange so they show up better on camera. But I do like them. I wish they did. They got rid of those in favor of the Brutus, and no. But again, when they were $100 a piece, I wasn't paying that for them. So there you go. I'm a value-oriented guy. If you're here and you don't know this about me already, I'm fat. No, that wasn't it. I post deals when I find them. If they're fishing related, sometimes even fishing adjacent, like if I find a good deal on a camera or a tripod or something like that, because a lot of us, even if we're not YouTubers, we do like to, I will post that kind of stuff. But it's going to be a good deal. It's not going to be, 10% off. It's usually going to be, 40% plus off of a real price, not a MSRP of $2,000. It's on sale for $1,000, but it's really worth $50. I don't play those games. And you're not going to find them very often. But when I do post one, it's a good deal. If I've used it, I'll tell you. If I haven't used it, I'll tell you, because it's important to me that, if I tell you that there's a good deal out there, I can't try everything, especially not at sale prices, and get them in before the sale's over. But I will tell you as much information as I can. One of the deals was, I think it was a Pen Pursuit 4. I don't even know if I posted this one on my channel. It may have been before I started doing that. But it was a Pin Pursuit 4 combo in the size 4000 for like $40. Let me tell you, that was a good deal. That was a major good deal. I wish I could have gotten more of them. The Spin Fisher, when it was on sale for $100 for the combo, that's a really good deal. Now, overkill for a lot of people, but still good deals. And I'll tell you, if it's I'll tell you what it's for, right? If it's if it's something that may or may not fit for you, because I don't want you buying garbage, right? I don't want you to buy stuff that doesn't fit you. I kind of still feel bad about Scotty. I told him to go get when the I forget they were on sale for a really good price. It was the President size 40. I said, go get one of these because I knew he needed a reel, and I think it was a little too small for what he wanted for it. And I kind of feel bad for telling him to go jump on this now, because a lot of these deals are jump now, think later. But anyway, hey Tom, good to see you. Good to see you. Appreciate you coming in. And then there was a tripod that I did a deal on, and when it came in, whew, I wish I had bought more of them. The value for the money was really good. Of course, the problem is by the time it comes in, whatever sale it is usually over. So anyway, be that as it may, I still stand by that it was a really good deal on that size 40 President reel, but I don't think it fit Scotty's style of fishing the way I hoped it would. See, you'll still find a use for it. What was it? $30? It was insanely low for what it was. It's normally $60, $70 reel, and it was like $20 or $30. I mean, I bought two of them. I gave one of them to Cindy. I'm not sure where the other one is. Anyway, but so I've talked about this and several times during this, but just in case you haven't seen it, tie an egg loop knot. Very strong knot. It will break. Typically, the line will break before the knot does. Literally, I mean, I've got a tester over here that I hook it up to and it pulls, and it'll tell you the strength. And yeah, so that is a really good knot. And then I take it up to my 3-way swivel, and I tie on a trilene knot here. This is 80-pound mono. When you're getting up into 80-pound line, you may want to look at crimping instead. But I don't want to whip out the crimpers right now. So, and the trilene knot has good strength, even in very thick line like this. Now, it is not one of those. I make fun about this in any of my testing videos. People will talk about, oh, it's 100% knot. Well, what is 100% knot? Saw one YouTube video that says something was a 200 strength knot. You can't test that. You cannot test if something will break at twice you can't, because you can't put it on 40-pound line, put 80 pounds worth of force on there, because it's already broken because it's 40-pound line. So when I talk about 100% knot, I'm talking about not that this says it's 30 pounds, but that it breaks at 38 typically. So if the line breaks before the knot does, that's 100% knot, because you can't go above 100%. I don't rate it against the 30-pound rating of the line. I rate it against what the line actually breaks at. So people will talk about the Palomar knot being 100% knot. It's not. It may be 100% of the listed strength of the line, but not of the breaking strength of the line. The knot's going to break the Palomar knot most of the time. And same with trilene knot. The trilene knot I just find is a better. It's a more versatile knot. Hey, Lola. When I got to Tennessee, I'll have a new fish rice. Well, I mean, I have too much stuff. I openly admit it. I bought a bunch of PC Fun reels. those Chaos XS50s. And then I found a deal on the Abu Garcia Catfish Pros, or special Catfish Special, the cheaper of the two, the one that's $160 for like $65 a piece, new. I don't have to tell you that I bought them. I don't have to tell you that I've got two carp specials for the exact same reason, which is really just a 6500 C3, and these are the old carp specials that still had the power handle on them, not the paddle handle. So, so I've gotten rid of some of my PC Fun Chaos XS50s, not because they were bad reels, but because I'm not going to lie to you. They're a third of the price of the Abu Garcia. I would rather have an Abu Garcia than a PC Fun Chaos XS for the same dollars. End of story. You're going to have a new girlfriend too? Wow. Ashley? Scotty's a good dude. I ain't gonna fault you if you leave me for him. He's a good dude. Do I experience any horror day? I don't know what that means. I have a feeling that when you answered, it may end up getting you kicked because it sounds like something that a child would bring up and try to get some. I don't know. Oh, you just want the inflatable one. Okay. Well, actually is not what you want if you want the inflatable kind, because that chick has been deflating. She is. She's a lot easier. She's. I can wrap my arm around her 3 times. She's been doing this diet, high protein, low fat, low carb. Like she eats 97% lean turkey. And I can't leave her because she's so pretty. And she doesn't try to feed me turkey, and turkey's okay until you like start making turkey bacon and crap, and then it's got to go. Anyway, potato. She's just an amazing woman. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I hit the lottery, and as long as I don't run out of Hypnol, she should stay with me. Not saying that I drug her and locked her in the basement, but I drug her and I locked her in the basement. Hey, Commander Pug, appreciate you stopping in. I hope you do get to come back out. Hey, Stacy. Hello, Phantom. Has any horrible incident happened with me other than my face? No. But it's interesting that you are the second person. Oh no, you're the same guy that asked about the horror thing. Okay. Because I don't know if you've ever heard of trolls, but trolls are these. They're not even good trolls. They're just these little kids that go around and they repeat the same stuff that other people have said. It's like they can't come up with anything of their own to say, and they want somebody to show them some attention because apparently they don't get enough love at home or something. I don't know. So I was thinking this was the next troll thing. Like currently, it's a hold your camera for and Lamar Jackson at it. Go away. Or there's a racist one that goes out and people trying to say you stupid shit because they think it's funny and all they're doing is they're shortchanging themselves because there are some really cool people in the show. And yeah, just not, I don't know why people want to be disruptive for no reason. Ooh. See, I am part of the Ryobi ecosystem because I got some of their, I don't know. I found a good deal on drills, a couple of their drills, got a ton of their batteries, got cordless fan from them. And one of the things I have is an air pump. It's both high and low velocity air pump. So, it's good for like airing up an air mattress, and it's also good for airing up your tires. Yeah. So I don't know why I needed to bring that up, but I did. I guess because it makes me feel important. And for those who don't know, Stacy and Scotty. So Bank Fishing Adventures is Stacy. Fun Fishing Adventures is Scotty. On Sunday night, they do Sunday night bites. And the time changes depending on the time of the year and the weather and stuff like that. But it's usually between 4 and 6 o'clock Central is when it starts on Sunday evenings. It's either on Scotty's channel or on Stacy's channel. They flip it back and forth depending on the week and who can be there that week. Because sometimes Scotty has to work because he isn't fortunate enough to have one of those jobs that only does Monday through Friday. But anyway, good channel to check out, both of them. Gigability doesn't post a whole lot. All right, tell you to go check out his. And if you need rods, you can find Uncle Lou Rods on Facebook. He doesn't have a storefront that I know of. He really is. He's a one-man shop, and he has good quality stuff. Stands behind his products. Really, like I say, I really like his rods. I only wish that he made them in other sizes and strengths. The last I heard, last I paid attention, last I can remember, would be a better word. He only did 7.5 foot medium heavies, but I think he's got a bumping rod out. I think at one point he had a purple rod. But like I say, those orange ones show up so magnificently on camera, especially, if you put a black light on there at night. Oh, they are gorgeous. So I've been tying 3-way rigs. There's some more that I want to test out. And I've talked about the Mortician's rig. It's some saltwater guy came up with it, best I understand. And it looks really, really good. I just want to play around with it with my strength tester because I've got some ideas that I think would work with it and make it a little bit better. Because so in saltwater, the main rig that a lot of people use is the pompano rig, which is basically the Kentucky rig in catfishing, but with obviously lighter line. And they use this T-knot, and the T-knot is not very strong. And I know that because I tested the strength, and it's remarkably weak for how much people talk about, oh, this is a super strong knot. It's not. And that's one thing about being on YouTube or anywhere is when you get caught saying something that's not true, you lose your credibility. Ugly Stick 4.8 Shakespeare Ultralight. SP 1100 Strategies. And depending on what ugly stick you have. So the original ugly sticks were fiberglass, and that's why they bend the way they do and why they bend as much as they do. But ugly stick has come out, they got the Carbon Elite and some other ones. A lot of people love their ugly sticks. And ugly stick, they've got a good reputation, and it's kind of sad that that Shakespeare still puts their name on it, because I have never. Shakespeare to me has always been one of those cheap brands, not just inexpensive, but just kind of low quality. And the ugly stick has been nothing but a home run for them, and it's like putting their name on it cheapens it, in my opinion. Ugly Stick should have become its own brand. And it is. I mean, it's still Shakespeare Ugly Stick, though. Old ones, yeah. And, I mean, I remember when I first found out about them, I was a kid. And my local tackle shop had them, and they were like $20 at the time. Well, I was the kid. I mean, I didn't have any money. I was buying, $5 rods. And, the owner was somebody, he knew me. I knew him real well. It was really the only sporting goods fishing shop in the town. It was a small town. And he, can't whip an ugly stick. And, I think the original one was he had caught the back of his pants and was pulling forward and had it all. I think that was the original logo for it. So anyway, I've known about ugly stick for years, but I never, by the time I could afford them, I was using other stuff. I do have an ugly stick now. I've got a GX2 that I bought as a combo because it was, that's right, cheap. Spanish woman. Did we? You talking about the ugly stick ad, or are we in multiple chats? Where am I fishing? That's a good question. I am right now. I'm sitting on the banks of the Mississippi River. You can probably hear it in the background. Actually, you just missed it. I just reeled in a 200-pounder. No, I'm sitting here tying rigs in my house because it is hot outside. And when I was a kid, there was no such thing as too hot. Well, when I got to be an adult, I was like, you know what? There is such a thing as too hot, and there's also such a thing as too dirty. You can hear the birds. Yeah, barge bite's coming, baby. Barge bite is there. So in addition to the three-way rig, there's another one that I like that is, I call it the bottom weight. It's effectively a drop shot, but the problem is there's no standing off from the line. So the tag end from the snell hook just comes down. And I feel like you want some kind of distance there. So that's, I was talking about the Mortician's rig. That gives you some standoff from the line and also doesn't have you using that T-knot that just doesn't have a lot of strength to it. Anyway. What do you mean bullshit? You think I would lie to you, Drift Clothing and Essentials? Okay, I might. But anyway, like I said, when you get caught lying, you lose your credibility. And there's a channel out there in the saltwater that I actually liked watching him. But he did. I've caught him too many times spewing nonsense. One of his videos was, when you're just starting, you use this knot, which is basically a surgeon's loop. And then as you get better, you do the T-knot. And then the super thing is it's a T-knot with, I think, a surgeon's loop. In the end, he was just kept adding more weakness. So you can, yes, it looks better, but I care about the strength of the knot. I'm not getting a bat. Your life is for a little bullshit. Okay. Drift Clothing, I know that means something to you, but it doesn't do it to me. So I'm not getting a barge bite? No, I'm not. If a barge is, the train goes down the tracks every now and then. Yeah, I'm trying to add a little education. Anyway, so I can't test it right now. But what I'm thinking, so the Mortician's rig, you have your swivel here. It goes down a good ways, and down at the bottom is your sinker. But in the middle, the standard way is that you tie 2 overhand knots, one really close to the other. So, and it's kind of like what you'll see on store-bought trot lines. So between here is where you would put your snood, which you'll have your hook, your leader, your hook. Well, one thing that I found is a single overhand knot will slip. You can push it down, especially if you're using heavy, strong enough line. And I did this the other day. Now, if you do a double knot, so you, instead of running it through one surgeon's knot, basically overhand, and then you run it through a second time. Those don't slip. But what I'm wanting to find out, and normally you put your spoon here and it can spin around. But I'm actually wanting to see if I could, well, what I want to test. I mean, I know I can do it. Let me snip this off because getting the knot out of this is not nearly as easy. What I want to do is, so like I say, that double overhand knot, like so. Okay. But before I cinch it down, and I don't have my 40-pound, oh, there it is, at hand. So before I cinch that down, if I can get untangled here, so I would go ahead and do my no knot snell or my egg loop. And bear with me. So I have my egg loop knot here. Because you have to have the standing end of your line available to do the egg loop knot or the no knot snell. Okay, so there's my egg loop knot. So snip off my tag end, pull this back and then snip it off. Come here. Okay, so now we're back to this. Okay, so your swivel would be up here. Much further down would be the sinker. So my thought is, so I've got this loop. So before I close it, go ahead and use it like I would the eye of a sinker and tie on a Charlie knot. And boy, do you get your ends all mixed around here, but let me grab hold of these. There we go. So I've got that on there. And now I can cinch this down. Okay. Where are my big ones? There you are. Okay. So doesn't matter which end I do, because it does not matter. So I'll just do a trailing knot on the swivel here. Like so. I have huge odds. Thank you. I'm very odd. Hey, Coastal Water, how you doing, Miss Mindy? Good to see you, dear. Glad to have you in here. Hope everything's good with Panda and Captain Backlash. So we'll go through both of those loops. Try to get enough. There we go. Okay, so did all that. Get some of this stuff out of the way. And in comes the Knot Buster 6000. So on one end of it, I've got a pull tester, and then I have a linear actuator. So this is a 12-volt little system here. Hook it to a battery I have sitting on my desk, because don't we all have lithium iron phosphate batteries sitting on our desk? And we'll roll this up. So what I'm wanting to test here, folks, so do I know any words in Russian? Da. Is from the swivel. So I don't care how strong the swivel down to the sinker is, right? Because I'm not going to catch fish on the sinker. If I do, then that's a whole nother. I care about this, the strength of the swivel down the snood to my circle hook. And I can tell you right now that this is going to be a little bit too long for our rig, but that's okay. Turn on our meter, set it to peak, set it to pounds. Because the linear actuator can only go so far, right? We'll see how far we can pull this. I've not even got pressure on it yet. Gosh dog it. Oh, no. Yeah, this is not gonna, there's not gonna be enough length to do anything with. But I did get some movement, so. Okay. So I did get what I needed. So I got 19.2 pounds before something changed. And what changed was that double overhand knot started slipping. You can see right here where it was slipping through there. See if I can tighten this up enough. So I'm going to try to just do a little surgeon's loop in the end where the swivel would go. It's not a surgeon's loop, it's just one trip through there. But so the goal is I'm trying that 80, the whole 80-pound piece of line, I'm going to try to tighten that. So that's what made that double overhand or the surgeon's knot in the originally. And we'll see if I can just pull it tighter to cinch that knot down more. So I'm pulling everything down. So I'm already at 62.4 pounds, but that's on the 80-pound line, right? Again, that's not the part I really want to test. But what I'm doing is I'm putting more pressure on this knot. So I'm tightening that knot up. Let's see. So I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I don't like cheating like this, but sometimes you have to. So what I'm doing effectively is I'm shortening this leader because, like I said, it won't fit on my, it's too long to run on this actuator because I tied it too long. Well, I tied it too long for what I'm doing with it. Be a better way of putting it. So the goal is to tighten that up and shorten the length of that. And let me zero it out real quick. So once I get some pressure on it, it's going to be fine. Okay. So now I've got it shortened down and, okay, whoopsies. Not what I meant to do. Give me a second. Get back in there. Tighten that down a little. And there you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to, okay, it's at 19.8. And right here, you see that? So again, my 80-pound line, that knot is what's sliding up and down. So that gets me to 19.8. And eventually, you know, it bottom out or something, but that doesn't do what I want. And so I've got this much of it done. Let me so we'll cut this. We're back to the 40-pound mono, right? So normally I would do a triple surgeon's loop here. Sorry about all the noise. can't really show it very well on camera because I'm running out of fingers. Let me put this on Do Not Disturb. So it quits going off. Okay. So now I have my 40-pound snood. Okay. Go back to our 80-pound fresh piece of line. And that's the swivel we just used on the other piece. We'll tie another traveling knot here real quick. Again, when you're up with 80-pound line, you're pretty much starting to get into using crimps, but I didn't yet. Not that you have to. You can still tie knots in 80-pound line, as shown by the fat guy on the screen. Now, when you get into thicker lines, sometimes you have to kind of help the knot get down where you want it. Give this a good pull. And it's not fully seated. It will continue to tighten down when it gets on the puller. Okay. So we've got this. This is where we're going to go ahead and tie. Do our double overhand knot here. Or surgeon's knot, I believe it's called. It's not a loop. Then do another one right here. Like I say, a single overhand knot I know is going to slip. And a double overhand surgeon's knot like this did slip when I put something else in the middle. But it was also pulling from the middle of that. So I'm hoping that this will work as a habit. So then when you put the snood on, you've got the loop at the end that I showed you earlier. We just run everything through it. And you create a cow hitch knot that seats between these two knots. And then what this allows it to do is it allows it to spin around, and you don't need a swivel there. So the strength that we're going to test is, again, hook to sinker. So this is 80-pound, this is 40-pound. And what we're testing here is to see basically if it'll slip. And the reason I like this Mortician's rig, there's a lot of reasons I like it. One, I think that this knot is going to be, it's not perfect, but it is stronger than those T-knots. Stronger than the surgeon's loop that I also use. That's stronger than the T-knot. The other thing is, because it's a single line going down to your hook, you can do the snell as opposed to the goofy hitch knot snell that some people do with these. So again, I'm only testing. Trying to see what we could see. Okay, so here we're pulling with the actuator, and then over here we're on the pull tester with the hook. Okay, and we're zeroed out, and forgive me, this is just my eye protection. So we're pulling. 27.1. Now what's changing? There. See, it's getting longer between these two knots. Oh, sorry. These two knots. So this is the 80-pound. This is the 80-pound. If this thing, oh, mother of pearl, 27.9. And that actually busted. Interestingly enough, normally doesn't break here, but it broke at the eye of the hook. So the egg loop knot is what broke there. So we got 27.9 pounds out of that. Now, with 40-pound mono, that's going to break at about 48 pounds. That's kind of abysmal. I'll give you that. But a T-knot would have busted probably around 20 pounds. And that's not even the knot that broke. Oddly enough, it was the egg loop knot. And it usually doesn't happen that way. So I will have to do more testing on this. But this, so when I talk about this thing, this, so this was a little over $100 for this setup, not including the battery. So you got the little pull tester, push-pull tester, the linear actuator, add a little switch in there and some wires and stuff, and then the battery, but you could run it off a 12-volt source of an AC/DC adapter if you wanted to. But see, I pull this thing out periodically, and I can't tell you how much I have learned from this thing. It's amazing. I'm still shocked, based on past experiences, that the egg loop knot broke. But anyway. Oh, yeah. Well, no, the hook. So the hook didn't break. The hook is not the problem. The knot at the hook broke. The egg loop knot. But yeah, I have straightened out some hooks. I broke one hook. That's scary. You know, when you bend it, you can kind of see it coming. When it breaks, you don't see that coming. And then things start flying across the room, and you're like, ooh, eyeballs. Are they important? And you find out the hard way. How old? Oh, how am I, sir? Thank you. I thought you were going to ask how old I am. Who cares? Hey, Jacksonian. Good to see you. Hey, N5N5. Let's see. Yeah, I'm telling you. See, I want to go fishing, but I can't bring 90 degrees. I ain't going out there 90 degrees. I love you guys, just not that much. So, I don't have a good reason why that knot broke. It could be that I just put too many coils on it. I don't know. I'm trying to think. But that was also a leftover, right? So the snood on this I had actually used previously on the prior when I was testing, not this rig, the other rig. That one. Or no. Anyway, one of them, yeah. So it had already been pulled on a couple of times. So you do get fatigue. You know, if you can't just stretch a line enough times and it just keep going, keep at some point you're weakening the line when you do this. So anyway, there you go. Well, Kelly M, when I was younger, I was not so much of a fair weather fisherman. I mean, I got crap for no reason at all. The gym is air conditioned. Well, I can't fish in the gym, honey bear. And nobody wants to see my beached whale ass out there in shorts. You joined because it has air conditioning. Yeah. And, I mean, when I was in my early 30s, I went home after work every day. And I mean, almost every day after work, I would come home, hook the boat up, and leave. And I had a wife and a young child at the time. And I can't tell you how much my now ex-wife did not appreciate me doing that. And looking back, the wisdom that comes with age, but she was a stay-at-home mom, and not that really changes a whole lot. But I always hated when I walk in the door after a day of work and she'd go, "Thank God you're home. Here's the kid." And I'm like, but wait. If your job as a stay-at-home mom is to stay at home and my job is to go out and I come home, then we both are off work right now. How come I get... But it's not that I didn't like spending time with the kid. It's that, sometimes you want to come home and decompress. Thanks, Sam Effin Live. Appreciate you joining in. 6 to 7 loops should be good enough. Well, so that is what that pull tester has done for me. It allowed me to do my own testing. Sorry, something bothering me that I realize I'm at an angle, but my sign looks funny. My sticker board. When you have the ability to test things like there, oh, hang on, work. I think it's just a joke, but let me make sure. Okay. Oh, that's funny. So I told you I worked in IT. A password change sign up sheet. So post it on a bulletin board. Put your username and your password, your old password, which new one to be. Yeah, that's cool. Anyway, so it allowed me to test different things. Is the improved clinch knot stronger than the clinch knot? Yes, it is. There is never a time that you should use the clinch knot for strength. If you want to use a weaker knot for, again, you want the sinker to break off before something else, and that's okay. But the clinch knot, and the fact that the improved clinch knot is that much more difficult than a clinch knot, the clinch knot is out. End of story. I thought that the uni knot would be a really strong, the uni snell knot. It is not. It's bad. Most of the snell knots are doggone weak. The no knot snell is the strongest, and when you look at the knot, and I'll show you guys here real quick. So the common wisdom has always been you have to have both ends of the line available. You don't. You just need the standing end available. So you can come up through the back of it. So this would be your tag end when all said and done, right? And then you do your little wraps. And it's really no different than doing it the right way. It's just that yeah. So anyway, the reason that this knot is so strong, and like I said, I thought that because it was so easy to tie, that it would be super weak. And I really, if you knew all the crap that was on my desk, you would appreciate why I can't find anything. And I do clean it up periodically, but it doesn't do any good because then I come along and do the thing. Ooh, tweezers. There you go. Everybody needs a good pair of tweezers at their desk. I'll show you. So the first thing you have is when you wrap, you're wrapping around the side that is not the open end. So when a hook is formed, it's wire is what it is. So you come around, you make the eye, and then you've got the open end over here. So where the end of the wire is, where it's been around. Well, that's sharp. Okay, so when you make the no-knot snell, you go around the side that is not that. Okay, and when you look at the eye of the hook, when this pulls, it pulls from this side, the side that it doesn't pull straight through the center. It comes around the side and comes back out. So there, see? If you can see that. Sorry, my big hands are in the way. I can't see the screen to tell you. So see how, so you're coming around the side, you're coming around the solid side of it. And then you're pulling from the bottom of this knot. And you've got all these little loops in here that work as a cushion. They're not a huge cushion. And it's not like you're playing with SpongeBob here, but it gives you cushion. And so when you pull tighter, you're pulling, these coils are compressing and tightening, and the only really sharp bend in the line is at the very beginning of the knot, which goes to the tag end. So if you put this on a pull tester, and let's say you had a loop on this side and a loop on this side of the knot is going to break real much quicker than this side. I mean, the level of strength, there's just not that much strength. So when you do this with a double hook rig, for instance, your second hook does not have nearly as much strength to the swivel as the first one. Because, again, this piece is going to pull, and when it pulls, it is pulling against the very bottom there. that sharp piece. Scotty, those tweezers are for pulling nose hairs during the live streams. It's my other channel. It's called Nose Hairs Live. And if you've never been on Nose Hairs Live with Mikey, you don't know what you're missing. Saving Grace Outdoors, you're not wrong. The Palomar knot is a fine knot. What I have found, though, is almost, or even maybe right up there with as strong as a trilling knot. But about 1 out of 5 times that knot would break significantly softer, weaker than the others. And I don't know why. There's the other thing that you have with a Palomar knot, and let me get some 40-pound mono out here for you. Everybody, so we could talk about the Palomar knot together. So the Palomar knot, you double over your line, you run it through the eye, or you run it through the eye and you run it back through through the way it came. You take this loop, you create an overhand knot, you tie this overhand knot, and you put your hook or your sinker, whatever, through it. And then you pull it tight and snip off the tag end. It's all well and good. The problem is that a trilling knot, you can tie it anywhere in your rig. Whereas with a Palomar knot, you have to be selective about how you tie it, because let's say that you've already got, your leader here, and you tie it up here. Well, when you've got that hole that you just put the sinker through, you have to put the sinker through and all the way down to the hook through it. And if you do what some of these folks do, where you have to have 18 rattles, 3 floats, a demon dragon, a chatterbait, the kitchen sink, and a few more things in the middle, and pulling that all through that one little loop. I mean, you can make the loop bigger, but still, you're just pulling through so much jewelry that it's not as easy. So anyway, well, I hope you learned something out of this. Now, and when I say that you learned something, we learn something new every day. It does not mean that I am right. I'm trying to provide information. It's up to you to decide what works for you, and what works for one person may not work for another. Just like Saving Grace Outdoors said. I mean, I was a big fan of the Palomar knot for years. Still am. But I realized that if I'm going to teach somebody one knot that will do everything they need, the tri-lane knot has that strength, and no matter where in the rig you're tying it, you don't have to worry about pulling a bunch of other stuff through it. So that's why I took it as the one of the 2 first knots you should learn. The other, of course, being the no knot snell. Even though they're better knots than the no knot snell, but as you go through being an angler, you will learn new knots, new ways of doing things, different ways. So to say that I use 2 knots is not true. I don't. And I think that Saving Grace would go with that as well, and say, yeah, I mean, most of the time I tie a Palomar knot, but sometimes I need to do this or that, or there are different situations. Hey, F and Saint, good to see you, my friend. So, and I think one of the hardest things that we do, and I'm going to actually come out with a video soon on what kind of reel should I buy, which is such a loaded question. I see that, online a lot of times. People will say, hey, I'm going to go do this. What kind of reel should I get? You haven't given us enough information. What kind of line do you want to use? What pound test do you want to use? What are you trying to accomplish with the reel? We don't all need a Van Stahl. It's a expensive saltwater reel. We don't all need the top of the line Shimano reel. We don't all, and you can go get an 8,000 size reel, but if you're fishing for panfish, well, that's kind of dumb. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I love saltwater. I can't tell you. That puller device did a lot of things. And I'm going to tell you something that I don't know if Saving Grace has heard this or not. But I'll tell you something that is going to eventually, it pisses a lot of people off. Let me make sure I have it here now. Fluorocarbon line is shit. Let me say it again for those people in the back. Fluorocarbon line is shit. A lot of people can get mad because almost every saltwater guy I watch that does surf fishing is like, well, you need braid to a shock leader, and you want fluorocarbon. Then you can use mono for the shock leader and then go to the swivel, but your the leader that goes to the bait, that needs to be fluorocarbon because it's invisible underwater and it's stronger and it's more abrasion resistant. And every story you've heard, let me help you out. 20-pound fluorocarbon breaks at about 22, 23 pounds. Just the line. Not talking about knots, anything else. 20-pound mono goes to about 28 pounds. Okay. It may, in fact, actually have less stretch than mono, but I don't care. It's invisible underwater. It has a different refractive index. Okay. So I've watched several different YouTubers that have, taken mono of the same size and fluorocarbon the same size underwater, whether it be clear, dirty, light, dark, whatever conditions. And to the camera and to the human eye, fish do not have human eyes. We have to remember that. It's very hard to tell the difference if you can. Abrasion resistance, salt strong. If you do any kind of saltwater stuff, salt strong is they're good people to watch. Now, they are trying to sell stuff, don't get me wrong, but he does some tests with sandpaper and a wooden dowel, and you got, I think, a 10-pound weight at the bottom using mono and fluorocarbon, and he'll switch them between so that so you can't really fault his testing except for the fact that he's using sandpaper and he's doing it dry. So there's those two, right? But every time mono is stronger. So abrasion resistance above water and saltwater and underwater there should be some sort of correlation. Now, fluorocarbon is supposed to be immune to UV rays, whereas monofilament will break down over enough years. UV will make it weaker. But yeah, fluorocarbon is god-awful expensive for what it is. And the knot strength is horrible. Absolutely repugnant. And I can't tell you the number of hours I've spent researching this. One video I saw was finally like, the reason you hate fluorocarbon is you're tying the wrong knot. And man, it goes through, I was on the bass tour and I hate it. And people said, okay, here's the one knot that you need. This is the knot that you have to tie with fluorocarbon. And boy, since then, my life has changed. Fluorocarbon is so great. I tied the same knot. It's still shit. It still broke significantly weaker than a trilene knot would with mono. End of story. The best lure or bait I've ever used. Well, now dude, you're asking a lot of questions. You're asking a loaded question. Well, for catfish, if I could have one bait, make people mad when I say this, shad. Because shad is in a lot more areas than skipjack is. Also, a skipjack head, and I didn't know this till I actually caught skipjack. Skipjack heads they're kind of bony. I mean, I don't want to eat one. Shad it's a softer fish. The head of a shad. If I were a fish, I would go, yeah, I'll eat that. But a skipjack's mouth is pretty dang strong, and it's more so than a bass. I'm trying to think of a freshwater fish I can compare it to. It's just there's not a lot of meat in there. It's just a lot of bone and just nothing about it looks appetizing. And shad you can get from this big to this big. Whereas skipjack, you can get them smaller, but you're usually looking about 8 inches the smallest that you're realistically going to catch much of. And then you go 2, 3, 4 pounds. Um, Now, as far as crappie goes, or panfish, so I like Bet spinners. They're like the Johnson spinners, little beetle spins. They're like those. I like the colors better. I like the bend of the wire a little better, but they're kind of interchangeable. Those are really good because I like a spinner bait. Trout magnet jigs are really nice for catching like small bluegill and stuff. Right. So mono braid line doesn't seem to last as long. Well, yes and no. So braid is not, and what's his name? He's up in Nova Scotia. Wild Hook. I think it's Wild Hook. He says that if you get hollow core braid, it's night and day difference, more abrasion resistant, all this kind of stuff. The problem is it's god awful expensive. Saving grace, you sound like Ashley. Ashley will soak anything in hot sauce. Yeah, I need some hot sauce for my eggs. For braid, here's my problem with braid is the price. I'm not going to lie to you. I am a budget fisherman. And that doesn't mean that I won't spend money on good stuff, but when you're talking about $30 to fill a reel with Power Pro Super Slick, I get Hercules braid off of Amazon. Is it the best? Of course not. But it fits my budget. And it breaks at about, so a 20-pound braid will break at about 21, 22 pounds. I don't know what happens with Super Slick and Power Pro and all that. Some people say that, it's way beyond what it is. But because braid has no stretch, and in my puller, I got as fast as I could afford reasonably. I didn't want one that pulls real slowly. That one goes about, I think, 0.7 inches per second, which is not that fast. But I think that one of those things that you need to test when you're testing the strength of something, we're working with fish. The fish don't just go, here, let me slowly pull. No, they grab it and go. So I wanted to simulate that as best I can, the conditions, right? And I think that if it was a slower pull, that braid would have it would have a higher breaking strength than what it has when I'm using it, because there is time that the tester has to there's some level of milliseconds in there from the time it hits a certain strength to when it registers, and because there's no stretch, there's a very short window for that. 20 pounds, 1,500 yards, $45. I think I've got some is it reaction? Yeah, I think I have some of theirs. I have not used Beyond Braid. That's another one of those brands that I hear a lot. The problem is I don't know who I hear it from. And here's some that I got off of Temu. Eagle, Power. I don't spend a lot of money on braided fishing line. What's this? Yeah, that's my Hercules stuff. Anyway, I'm not going to say that there aren't stronger, better lines out there. I'm just telling you I'm not going to pay for them. And that's another place. So I talked about sponsorships earlier and trusting people and stuff. I'm not going to tell you to buy something I wouldn't buy myself. And if it's not worth my money, I'm not going to tell you that you spend yours on it. I will occasionally buy Gamakatsu hooks on sale. I like they're very good hooks. Very good hooks. Don't get me wrong. When I was bass fishing and doing tournaments, I'd practice with whatever I could find. But Bass Pro Shops brand, Academy brand, whatever. But on tournament day, they're Gamakatsus because in that situation it was worth it to me. Hey, baseball guy 12. So these people that are talking about, trying to think, is it Beyond Braid that has holler? Somebody, oh God, I can't think who it is. They're out of Texas, and I forget the brand, but it's a hollow core braid. I looked at the price and I'm like, I don't care. There is no amount. I don't care how good it is. I'm not going to spend my money on it. So I'm not even going to ask the company, hey, would you send me a sample? Because I would test the strength of it, and I'd tell you what the results are, but I wouldn't spend my money on it. So when I tell you that I use Suffix Superior 80-pound mono, Suffix Superior 80-pound mono, it's because I do. This is 30 pounds, or $30, excuse me. It's a 1-pound spool, 80-pound, 655 yards. So again, 80-pound, that is leader material for me. This is going to last me a very long time. I use the 40-pound mono. I also use Trilene Big Game. I find that the Suffix is a little more supple or soft, or not quite as much line memory. Trilene Big Game is very good line. There are more premium brands out there, but again, this is what I pay for and spool my reels with. Well, the high vis version, but anyway. You can get as bougie as you want with Catfish rigs. You can put a whole bunch of rattles on them. I'm not saying they don't work, but I am saying that if I'm fishing in the lake with no moving current, how much noise is this going to make? Same with Demon Dragon. Same with it's not. I'm not pointing at one particular product when I say that, but there are a lot of people out there, and I lose faith in them, and some of them are people I actually like as people, and they're talking about this rig and it's got a flasher on it, or this on it, or that on it, and I'm like, I'm not spending my money on that. Hey, Senna. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome in. Appreciate you coming in. So that's kind of where I am. And that's why I buy Eagle Claw swivels, or these are the 9 km, the DW Life. You can see that on the back there. So this is a brand you'll find on Amazon. They are not the best. They fit my budget and they do what I need. Okay. So they're not made out of unobtainium or powder coated earlobe juice or anything like that. Yeah, Saving Grace, I'm with you on that. I'm not saying that new things aren't worth investigating. I'm not saying that new things don't work. A good example, the Whopper Plopper. Everybody loves the damn Whopper Plopper. And I will give you that it makes a different noise going across the water than anything I've ever seen. But my goodness, the price on those things. Same for chatterbaits. The Z-Man chatterbaits, oh my God. Of course, I'm used to buying rattle traps for $2, and that's not a thing anymore either. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how everybody else started, and maybe I was just fortunate that I started as a kid on a farm pond with no money. Cane poles, Zebco 202s. Hey, Jake, welcome back. Welcome back, my friend. Yeah, and I mean some of those old lures that you see that you're looking at them going, why would a fish ever hit this? And I don't remember what the hula popper looks like. That may just be the one that has little dress treble in the back. But some of them had like this like the old head and lures had this big wide spoon on the front of him for spitting water. Maybe it was a jitterbug, I don't remember. But I'm like, what is that supposed to imitate? A big giant metal face on something. So I do like my crappie magnet. I don't know. I'll use these. I'll use, like I say, the trout magnet size. Kalen, K-A-L-A-N, I think. They make 3-color lemonade and stuff, so it's like 1 and 2. They've got like 1 and 1, and make 3 different colors on it. Like a troll tub grub for panfish, stuff like that. And anyway, of course, Bobby Garland. It's hard to go wrong with those. I don't really know how I switched to bluegill real quick, but I did. Oh, that is a hula. Yeah. And again, for anybody that hasn't seen these before, Danco pliers. So it's either Black Friday or Cyber Monday. They do a half price deal. And that's when I load up on their stuff. Now, I think these are $3.99 right now, if they're even in stock. They weren't in stock. Found them for $2.99 somewhere else, bought 10 pair of these. Okay. That's how much I like these. Now, these are not fishing, your traditional fishing pliers. They're called the Ultimate Braid Scissors. And they will cut braid, they will cut mono. But like this part of the back here of my tweezers, this section is the cutters, right? This section is just like a flat plier grip. Then you got little teeth here for gripping. And you also have the end that is for split rings. And, when you're cutting 80-pound mono or whatever, it cuts through it fine, but you will, your fingers will get a little sore because, you're cutting thick line. My goodness, Brickloptic, $10. I mean, you already hit me with $5 was more than I ever had in a super chat. And now you doubled that to $10. Thank you so much. Thank you kindly. You already said, please don't dance naked, so I won't do that. I do like, if you've never seen Crappie Man jigs, and I try not to copy people much, but boy, he's got like a little button he pushes and it starts playing a song, and he'll put on his sunglasses and dance a little bit in his chair. And he may even have a disco ball. I don't know. It's really cool. I like that kind of interaction. Cole Dawson, get some cheese. I don't need cheese, bro. How many cheeseburgers do you think I've missed in my life? I mean, they don't call me Beefcake because I'm handsome and studly. They call me that because, no, I'm just basically ate all the cheeseburgers in the world. But thank you very much, Brickloptic. I appreciate that. Smash some burgers for the live. Okay, well, right now, I'm technically on a diet. Just started it yesterday. So I was on the low carb, the Atkins style diet for about a year, and I lost 120 pounds. I've gained a lot of it back. We'll talk about that. But it's starting to be where, I'm still 6 inches smaller than I was in the waist before, but it's time to start working on that again, especially since Ashley is just out there kicking ass, losing weight and stuff. I couldn't if I wanted to. I could if I wanted to. And for anybody who's interested in the Atkins style diet, the good thing is you can eat as much as you want. You just can't eat everything you want. So, you want to go like Caesar salad. I eat the hell out of some Caesar salad. You can get low carb wraps to use instead of bread for sandwiches. Cole, what do I think about the Iran situation? Well, I haven't paid attention to it today, but last I heard there was a ceasefire and that's over. There's a lot that I think about it, but does it belong in a fishing channel? I don't think it does. Yeah. And same with Palestine, and same with Somali pirates and Tiananmen Square. And I have personal opinions on a lot of things. They don't belong here. Neither does religion or much of anything like that. Yeah, if you want to talk about fishing, if you want to talk about anything that's not politics related, religion related, or racist, I'm pretty much open. Doesn't have to be about fishing. I mean, God knows we all have lives outside of fishing. So there you go. I do think the Iran situation could have gone a lot of different ways. And one thing that I find, I shouldn't talk about this. One thing I find disturbing is, so the Ayatollah telegraphed what he was going to hit and where he was going to hit it. He basically gave us warning. And so, and it was an anemic attack. He had to do something, so he did something. And his point wasn't really to start a war; it was to try to save face. And Trump did not allow him to do that by saying, he gave us advance warning and everything. It was even an attack. It was, at that point, you sometimes you bow out gracefully. Thank you, Crypto Billy. Yeah, NJ Fishing Maniac says I have, I think, 10 Bundy. BTK eyebrows. The BTK killer, which I think the K is the killer, but so it's BT. I don't know. And they're mine. They were birthday presents. All I can tell you. I think that whole situation could have gone remarkably differently than it did, and the end doesn't always justify the means. And I'm glad that the outcome was as good as it was. One thing that I don't understand, and this is not really politics, this is more war related. So Iran has this stack of missiles, and Israel has this level of quantity of missile interceptors. So eventually, if Iran wanted to throw everything they had at Israel, sooner or later, Israel would run out of things to stop them with. The other thing is, if that's the case, why wouldn't you just build some really cheap missiles that don't really have a payload, just so they have to intercept them, right? And you're using up $1 million rocket with $10,000 rocket. Anyway, that's more of strategy than anything. I appreciate all of you guys sticking around. A lot of you guys have been here for a while. I appreciate it. I am doing not my best, because with my best, I'd be out there fishing right now in the heat and trying to get heat stroke. But I'm trying to hit that 4,000 watch hours. And this time last year was when I first started actually trying to do something. I was in Florida and I had really good results. But those hours are falling off. So like yesterday, I had 3,900 hours towards my 4,000. Today, I've got 3,800 towards my, because the rolling 365 days. Hey, Commander Pug. Hey, cool. Yeah, well, I would love, let's go to war with some fish. There you go. Let's see. Oh, it's down to 84 degrees. But it's going to get dark soon. I think it may already be. I don't know. I haven't looked outside. So Friday night, the band that's playing where I normally go dancing with Ashley is not one that we're really thrilled about. So I'm thinking Friday night, I'm going to try to go on the banks of the Mississippi and take out my little black lights. Never can find, there it is. Yes. And because my rods glow under these, something awesome. I mean, look what it does to just a bobber. I think it's really cool. And white is one of those things. White is one of those colors that just does really well under black light. It's not dark enough, but you get the idea. So I think I'll be doing that Friday night. I hope to be doing that Friday night, because Ashley needs to work on her schoolwork. She's already graduated. She's already has done the walk for the graduation, but she's got a little bit of coursework she has to turn in to to get that masters completely over and done with. Beautiful pike and walleye. I've never caught a walleye, and I haven't really caught a pike. I've caught the, what have I caught? Oh, the poor man's pike that we have down here. The, I forget what they're called. I think they look like a pike. I think that's what they're supposed to resemble. Remember the first time I caught one, I was like, what is this ugly creature? What are they called? It's not the gar, it's the other one that has a toothy face. Pickerel, yeah, chain pickerel. I'm like, I was in a bass tournament, I caught one. I'm like, what in God's name is this? They said, don't lip it. Like, well, I'm about to. And that's one thing you learn about saltwater real quick. Yeah, unless you know exactly what kind of fish you got, you don't stick your fingers in his mouth. Sea trout, which are not trout at all, they have two fangs right in the front. And I mean, they're like this long. Really the two big teeth that they have in their face. And they break off periodically. But the first time I saw those, I was like, no. Of course, sharks have teeth, you know that. But it's amazing the teeth that some of these fish have. If you've never seen a sheep's head, and as old as I am, I hadn't seen one. I've never been saltwater fishing until a few years ago. Sheep's head. I've seen a couple of times, memes about them, but I thought they were photoshopped. No, they really have human-looking teeth in them. They're really weird. And yeah. Anyway, yeah. You're gonna be like, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the super chats. It means more than you know. Just the support aspect of it, not necessarily the dollar amount, but just I'm doing something right. I appreciate that. I think we'll go ahead and call it a night. I'm gonna go watch a little TV, do something fun with some time, and I appreciate you guys watching. Guys, if I can ask a favor, and you don't owe me anything, if you want to put on my live stream playlist on a device that you don't care anything about and just let it run for hours on end, I'll love you forever. Like I say, I'm trying hard to get to that 4,000 watch hour so I can get the fully monetized, and I don't really know like that's going to make any difference in my life, but it's that thing that you're working for. You get the 2 humps. You got the 1,000 subs, you've got the 3,000 watch hours, and you got the 4,000. And the weird part is I'm like at 4,300 on the watch hours for last year, but not the earn watch hours, because they have a different set where they've curated them to make sure that they're real hours. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful time. We will see you the next time. If you haven't liked and subscribed and all that fun stuff, go ahead and do that, because it makes YouTube think I'm smarter than I am. Have a good night, folks. See you next time.